to Wrestling Tonight. I am your hardcore host, Mad Dog Butch. With me, as always, the Tom Rocky Stone to my young Dennis Stamp. None other than Brace Beemer.
Yeah.
And joining us tonight, none other than old school Ric Caurdiea. It's a pleasure to have you here, Rick.
All right, my pleasure.
How are you tonight?
I'm doing good. Ready to talk about some wrestling.
Yeah, it's good. Great to have you in the studio, man. Back again beside being in the ring.
Yeah, I don't have to take any bumps. This is good.
Maybe a little bit nicer now that you're not getting beat up.
Now, it's been a little while since we've had a guest in the studio. And I don't know if you're familiar with our policy, but whenever we have a guest in the studio, we like to present a gift as a thank you for coming onto the show.
Uh-oh.
So I dug through some of my collectibles and wrestling stuff that I had to try to find some of the most old school stuff that I could find. So hold on.
All right.
We need some music in the background for this. Oh, ho, ho,
So-
ho, ho.
I got a Wrestling USA from 1990.
One of my favorite magazines when I was a kid.
Oh, wow.
Also a Wrestling USA from 1990.
Hogan and Flair on the cover.
And a Pro Wrestling Illustrated from 1990.
Yeah,
The stinger there, so-
Sting.
This
There you
is
go.
awesome, and I thank you so much. I am
No problem. Thank you for coming on.
because the fan part of me is still a big fan of the magazines, and this is
Good.
just amazing.
Are there
You're very
posters in them?
I did not check to see if the posters were still there. Sorry.
The woman pinups are still at his house.
That reminds me of the
Yeah,
collection
exactly.
I threw out when I was younger. I had so many, and I just got rid of them.
Yeah.
Terrible.
Did the PWIs have magazines? I forgot. Yeah, they did, didn't they? They
The
had
what?
The Pro Wrestling Illustrated. They had the
Yeah, they had the
pinups
fold-out
right in the middle.
posters.
Yeah, I think they
Okay.
did it back
Yeah.
in the day. I don't
Yeah,
think they
the
do anymore.
double
Oh,
ones.
okay.
Used to be able to
Yeah.
magazines that you could get, and they'd have the big, like, 4 fold-outs,
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, some of those, like
Yeah.
Wrestling Eye.
Yeah, that was my favorite one.
I was trying to find one of those for you, but I couldn't. I didn't really. I mean, I was digging, but I had to give up at some point.
I like the other magazines better than the New York ones.
I appreciate it, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, no problem. Enjoy them.
That's cool.
Now, normally, also, whenever we have somebody on, the first question we like to ask is, what were some of your earliest memories as far as wrestling goes?
Well, with me, my father was already a fan.
Oh, really?
As a kid, he watched Big Time in Detroit, and then late '70s, I guess it would be, he was working with family in Georgia doing ditch digging to put in the original cable TV line when it was new.
Yeah.
And he discovered Georgia Championship Wrestling.
Awesome.
Huh.
So comes back here. So in our household, 605 TBS was a staple.
Right.
And I guess I was about 6 when I first took notice of it, and it was because my dad made it a big deal. He talked it up.
Yeah.
It was Flair coming back from his stint in the WWF and the Horsemen reforming,
Okay.
and he made it sound such a big deal
Yeah.
that I had to take notice. And I have to admit, you watch Flair for 5 minutes, I was hooked.
Hell yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, that was going to be my next question. If you remember the moment that you were
Oh,
actually
well,
hooked.
there you
that,
go.
That was it.
Did your dad have one of those cheater gimmicks that you'd screw on the cable lines to get like the
No,
free stuff?
we had I think one of the earliest of the the remote activated Comcast cable. So
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. So that obviously was the WCW
Yes.
era. Okay. So did you watch both? I mean, when did you start watching WWF then?
I was a strict WCW fan
Okay.
at first, and I want to say maybe around late '97 I started going to a video store renting tapes, which was always WWF tapes. That's what they had.
Mhm.
But I didn't watch like the current WWF product until around WrestleMania 15, so like '99, early '99.
Oh, really?
Oh,
okay.
You're that long of a holdout? That's
Yeah.
sweet.
I like
That's awesome.
my
That is
Southern
cool.
wrestling, man.
Yeah, that's awesome.
You just may have catapulted into my all-time top 10 for that.
So, so besides Flair,
Mhm,
obviously Flair was one of your favorites then.
mhm.
Who were some of your other favorite wrestlers around that era?
Oh, in that time frame, I remember, of course, Sting as a kid. The face paint, all that's always really exciting. You get into that. Um, Over a couple of years, maybe a little bit older, Arn Anderson really stood out to me. I think if
Mhm.
anyone who kind of watches me today could probably pick up on that. Um, and when the NWO guys came in a little bit later, Hall and Nash were so cool, bad, bad but cool that I got into them.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. So, so did you switch over exclusively ever to WWE during the Attitude Era, or did you stay with WCW all the way till the dying days?
I was WCW to the end, and like I would
Okay.
hide originally the fact that I was occasionally flipping over to Raw from my dad. Like, yeah, yeah, Nitro, click. Okay, Stone Cold's doing this. Sable hot. Okay, back to Raw or back to Nitro.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm with you. At some point, I think WWE got better than WCW towards the end, but I stuck with it too. I stayed with it all the way to the end.
Looking back now, if I go like on the network and watch them,
Mhm.
WWF had a better product at that time, right at the end,
Yeah.
by far.
Mhm.
But at that time, as a kid, I was still loyal to
Right.
WCW.
Yeah. Yeah, that's totally understandable. Um,
Yeah, we were all the NWA stalwarts
Mm,
for all the different territories, you know.
right.
yeah.
WWE or WWF at the time was public enemy number one until I don't know, 96 maybe,
Well,
97.
just an example for you. This past Monday, I turned off Raw and turned on some Crockett stuff on the network. So.
Nice.
Oh,
I
did
like it.
you?
That's what I do. I'll go
Yeah.
like put on some like southeastern stuff or like Texas or whatever. Get my wrestling fix that way, you know.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's I don't know. It's tough. It's tough nowadays to watch to stay tuned in
What are
to
you,
that.
what are your thoughts on the AEW?
Well, I mean, I watched the first pay per view, thought it was great, and of course, about a year ago with the All In,
Mhm.
awesome, and I'm a big fan of Cody.
Okay.
So I'm behind it. I want to see where it goes. Surprisingly enough, when it comes to in ring, I'm not a huge fan of the Young Bucks because just their style doesn't do it for me.
Yeah.
Mhm.
However, like their promos or even just like shoot interview stuff, like the guys are hilarious. I like really like them, and I respect the marketability they've made for themselves.
Oh
Mhm.
yeah,
But
they're prostitutes.
Yeah.
make so
Yeah.
much
You
money
know,
without being
that's what
signed.
the business is.
I
But
mean, I got to give them credit for bringing the LJNs back. Although I
oh, yeah.
can't bring myself to buy them because they're so out of scale
Mhm.
with
Really?
the originals. Oh yeah, they're like towering
How
over
much
the
are
original.
they?
I don't know, maybe
Huh.
$30 or something,
Hmm.
$40.
Jeez.
I'm not sure, but yeah, they made them like way out of scale, and they look almost. I don't know, but they look more like the old San Francisco toy company WCW. They look like they're like the harder plastic
No, really?
than.
Okay.
That's what they look like. I don't know. I mean,
Huh.
I haven't really seen any reviews on them or anything, but I was all set on buying them, and then as soon as as soon as I saw like a comparison picture, I was like, I'm not buying these. They're just like I was always a stickler for scale as far as wrestling figures went, and they're
But
just so out of scale.
that was a problem with a lot of the old school toy rings. Nothing ever really fit right.
Oh yeah, they
R-
always seem like they're like out of.
Yeah.
Yeah, I used to build my own rings
There you
when I was
go.
a kid. Oh yeah, I'll put the styrofoam in the middle. They made the sound and everything.
Well, okay. How did you decide to become a wrestler? Did you mess around like in the yard or in the house or
Uh,
whatever?
well, middle school, high school, me and a couple buddies, we did the backyard thing. Um, it was always funny because there was like only like three or four of us, but we played like five characters each.
Yeah.
We had no audience, so like
Yeah.
we weren't doing it for like that. We just totally did it just to hang out and beat ourselves up. Um, and right around when I was turning 18, I was looking into going to wrestling school. Get out of high school, go to wrestling school, but
Mhm.
the prices were high, and I didn't have any help with that, so that
Right.
didn't happen.
You remember which ones you looked into?
House of Truth.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
That's pretty much it. I looked at Truth Martinis, or well, maybe the Can-Am Scott Demores as well.
Okay.
But just too much money, and so became one of those like, oh well, I'll get to it. I'll get to it, and I actually eventually kind of gave up on it. Um, until I happened to meet someone at a bar one night. When this is a little bit later, I was 24 at this point. Who was like, "Hey, well, you like wrestling, and you're watching Raw on the TV here at the bar. Like, come with me to XSU this Sunday, and we'll get you hooked up, and maybe you can get you in the ring."
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Guy was trolling out there and snagged you, huh?
Yeah. Now, I mean,
Huh.
granted, XSU was a what's the right term? I think CM Punk says it best on his DVD when he says Pirate Pro, where it's like
Okay.
mostly backyard guys, but they have a ring in a building, and their
Yeah.
production's pretty good.
Yeah, there have been a lot of those groups
Yeah.
around.
Okay.
So
You know?
that was my start.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Mm.
So, now as far as when I first saw you, you were with Fat Tony
Mhm.
as a tag team. Now, was he with you? Did he go with you to that? I mean, I think you had mentioned to me before that you guys went to the same.
He was
training.
around XSU.
Okay.
At the time, he was working security a
Okay.
lot. Like he
He
wasn't.
looks like a security guy.
Well, he was bouncing at bars and clubs
Oh,
too.
yeah.
So there you go.
Oh, okay.
But so he actually, I don't think during the original run of XSU he ever actually performed as a wrestler, but he was there all the time. And when I guess probably gonna hit another question when I go into this, but when I started training there, and it was just the backyard guys, not long after we brought in Briar Wellington
Okay.
from JCW and the Detroit scene
Right.
to train us, and he was part of those trainings for a while. I don't think he didn't complete, but he was there, part of it.
Okay.
Huh.
All right. So, so they ran their own promotion then, and you guys started out wrestling or you started out wrestling for them?
Yeah,
Or-
I say XSU would run. Originally, it was in Warren, and then it transitioned over to Hazel Park, and they did weekly shows.
Okay.
And just the guys who wanted to learn, Briar would be there once a week to do trainings.
Mhm.
You were paying $50 a head or a night to go in and train,
Right.
but if you could swing that weekly,
Yeah.
Yeah.
you were getting trained.
Oh, okay.
Paying by the drink.
Pretty much.
You know? Yeah.
So about how long did you wrestle for those guys?
Let's see. Well, it was nearly a year before I had my first actual match.
Oh, okay.
And I want to say after that, I only did, I don't know, 6 or 7 matches with them before they went under.
Oh,
Hmm.
okay.
So,
All right.
and that was, you guys remember him from his time in MWO. That was Owen Travers' promotion.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. All right. Yeah.
So I started with him. He gave me my first shot in the ring.
Okay. Who was your first opponent? Do you remember?
Owen Travers.
Oh, okay.
We did an interesting angle where I was acknowledged as the cameraman because I had been mostly doing camera work at the shows.
Okay.
And he was a heel champion,
Mhm.
and he basically was doing a deal where he was picking the opponent for whoever he was feuding with,
Mhm.
and was like, well, I'll wrestle tonight as well. I'll pick an opponent. I'll put my money where my mouth is. I'm gonna wrestle someone who's been training and working hard. Is gonna get in the ring. The camera guy.
Okay.
And walked up, took off my shirt, got in the ring, and got killed.
Well, you mentioned the camera guy. That's kind of like paying your dues in a way.
That was my thing. Like I did a little bit of the ring stuff, but camera was my
Oh, okay.
which I actually enjoyed because
Yeah.
I'd seen some of the other camera work, and it was crap. And I've had kind of, I guess, just by nature of watching a lot, a good idea of where things would go in a match and how to set up
Right.
shots.
You almost
like,
have to have
on
a
the
knack
fly.
for it, you know?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like an art, really.
So I felt like my camera work was pretty good, and I actually enjoyed doing that for that year as I was training.
What else did you do beside that, setting up the ring? Anything
That
else?
was most of my jobs there. Just do those and then make sure you get in before the shows and train a little bit.
They use it as a test dummy while you were training?
Me as a test dummy?
Yeah.
I mean, you hear horror stories nowadays, about
well,
people just, kind of taking advantage of the trainees or
Yeah. And I wasn't
Well-
even talking that, just more or less,
well,
you're learning how to take bumps, but you're taking moves from people
I
who
would
are
say
practicing.
when I first started, before we had Briar there as a pro to really train us, when it was just the XSU guys. Oddly enough, partner in Hossfight right now, Adrian Anderson.
Mhm.
He was the guy who gave me my first bump, and he enjoyed kind of doing that. So like everyone was doing clothesline bumps. Like learn to take the clothesline and learn
Yeah.
how to bump. And he, without calling or anything, just kind of like, hey, big boot to the mush. And
Oh,
okay, nice, thanks. What the hell just happened? Um, and then like when Breyer came in, it wasn't so much that, it was just he would work you like really hard,
Yeah.
like a lot of cardio.
Right.
Like
Right.
the old story of let's
The
work
old
you.
cardio for Cartier, huh?
Oh, there you go. But like you hear the stories like work you till you puke and then
Yeah.
learn how to wrestle.
Yeah.
He lived by that.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's great.
Yeah. So
So did you get the a lot of people? Yeah, I mean, and this is true. Like I've seen it where you watch it on TV and you're just like, oh yeah, I could do that. But a lot of people can't get past hitting the ropes or falling on the mat. A lot of people
yeah.
duck out after
it's
that.
so much more than people think.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I took the bumping, I took to the ropes.
How long did it take you to toughen up from the where you get used to the punishment?
I don't want to sound egotistical when I say this, but I feel like I was so headstrong that I'm going to
Yeah.
do this that it wasn't even a thought to me.
Yeah.
I pushed through it pretty quick.
Oh, that makes complete sense.
Yeah.
A lot of people are like that,
and
Just
and
Yeah.
I saw people not make it.
yeah.
Because we had besides XSU guys, a couple like football players and all the other guys who had connections with Breyer came in, and those guys were all puking and leaving and like saying this ain't
Yeah.
for me. And I'm thinking I'm not an athlete. Like I didn't play sports in school.
Okay.
I was the art guy. Like I'd run from gym class and go hide in the art room and draw comic books. But here I'm doing what these athlete guys are puking and like leaving for.
Right.
Hmm.
Right.
Don't know why that's happening, but that's how it was.
Hey, you know what? Kurt Angle said that his pro wrestling training was tougher than any training that he's ever done.
Yeah.
And that's saying a lot from an Olympic gold medalist.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. A lot of those guys, that came from a different sport,
Yeah.
have said that.
It is
said that
tough.
too.
I mean, it is.
People just don't understand the physical conditioning
Yeah.
to
Right.
that lifestyle, and
Or
it is a
just
lifestyle.
we call it bumping, but just the pounding that you take. Hell, even hitting the ropes, you can get, you can get bruised.
Generally, they're elevator cable. Like
Yeah, really.
Right.
Well, before I really learned how to hit 'em, like I have bruises all over the kidneys and stuff.
Yeah.
It was nasty.
Yeah.
All right. Now where did I didn't see you obviously until you guys showed up in the MWO. Was that your next step, or was there somewhere in between there that you wrestled?
It all came pretty quick, but from XSU, Breyer took me to the Detroit area, and I wrestled for Pro Wrestling All Stars.
Okay.
Who was running that?
That's Steven Rivera, still does, and they're buddies, and
Yeah, because I've heard of that even more. I mean, within the last couple of years,
But I did battle royals and some opening things there,
Mhm.
and I did that for just a little bit, those two, until I got like my clearance, and it was a 6-man tag that we did for PWA, and both Rivera and Breyer were in the match.
PWA was
Pro Wrestling
All-Stars.
okay.
And did the match, did a 6-man tag match, and it was afterwards where he was like, "Hey, you're good, right?" And I'm thinking like, "Well, thanks. I felt like I did pretty good." He goes, "No, like you're good. Like I'll give you a list of promotions if you want. Like you have my permission to go get bookings."
Nice.
Oh, okay.
And from there, I hit Ohio a little bit with Fat Tony, and then and TXWE, which is in Adrian, or was in Adrian, Michigan, and MWO.
Okay.
Huh.
Now, did you have like the 50s gimmick kind of right off the bat, or was that a newer thing when you guys became a tag team in that MWO?
That started with MWO.
Okay.
When I first started, I was Richard Allen Price, which is a play on my middle name. Like it's Richard Franklin Price is like my actual like first middle names there.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So I just kind of switched things around, and I had no gimmick. I was just wearing a black singlet, red boxing shoes, and a leather jacket,
Okay.
and that's how I was wrestling at first. And then after I got into TXWE and made connection, which then led to TWA in Downriver area, I was partnered with a guy named TJ Richards, and we were going to be this cool, badass tag team called Blitzkrieg in our minds, wearing leather vests and the black trunks. And then we went to TWA. The promoter there, Keith Calhoun, put cowboy hats on us and said, "You're the Midnight Riders." Allman Brothers is in the computer. There you go.
Nice.
And we rolled with that for a little while.
Okay.
But then at the same time, right when that happened, in MWO, it was me, Fat Tony, and the guy who would then be known as Vinny Cardiea,
Oh, that's right.
who's
Yeah, I
also who's
forgot.
also
Yeah.
from XSU.
Okay.
We started to roll with each other their shows,
Hmm.
and it was a legit thing, kind of in a way where while this business is tough, us watch each other's backs.
Hmm.
We'll be a group, and we played ourselves as brothers or adopted brothers. Well, we kind of truly did adopt each other at the time. Like we really wanted to have
Okay.
each other's backs. It's
Yeah.
people get screwed all the time,
Right.
Yeah.
payoffs, whatever it may be. So that's
Yeah.
where the Cartier thing happened, and he picked the name thinking it was Italian because he's Italian, but in all honesty, it's a French name, and it made no sense. But I stuck with
Okay.
it.
Well, I'm glad you explained that. I did not write that down as a question, but I always kind of wondered that too, where the way that Cartier was spelled, and then you guys were
Yeah,
going
it's
kind
a
of
total
like
French name, and he was like, no, it's Italian.
the.
Hey, going back to the Midnight Rider
Mm.
gimmick, was that an homage to Dusty Rhodes?
Oh, a little bit.
Because
The
he did
name was, but if you looked at us as a tag team, we were the Blackjacks.
Yeah.
The promoter wanted the Blackjacks.
Oh, okay.
So we had the black trunks and black boots and the black leather vest and the hats. And I don't think I did, but even I think the partner, I think he wore the leather glove.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So
Okay.
we were totally doing the Blackjack gimmick.
Huh.
Now, when you started wrestling, I mean, was there anybody that you tried to kind of pattern your wrestling style after, or did you just kind of adopt your own thing?
Well, I want to say I was adopting my own, but I feel like over time I realized in my mind what was my own. I
Mhm.
was taking pieces from a lot, especially the Horsemen,
Right.
Arn and Tully specifically. A
Okay.
little bit of Dusty, maybe a little bit of Harley
Tully
Race.
was one of my favorites.
I love Tully,
Mhm.
and so I think really that's where my style was coming from. My style was basically I watched Jim Crockett Promotions, and
Okay.
I'm looking at that.
Right. Okay.
Nice.
But I didn't know that at the time. At the time, I thought this is just me developing myself,
Yeah.
which I guess it is. But
Yeah. Yeah. You take a little bit from everybody.
Yeah.
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 I've told you this before. A lot of times I'll say something to somebody like, tell somebody that they remind me of somebody, but just because I got like so many wrestlers in my head, if it's not somebody that, I mean, I like Barry Horowitz just as much as I like Brett, maybe not just as much, but I respect them as much. So I think I had mentioned this to you. And I hope you didn't take it as a knock because I didn't mean it as a knock at all. But for whatever reason, and I think it's more the way that you move in the ring, not necessarily the way that you wrestle. But you've always kind of reminded me of Denny Brown, the
okay.
former, longtime NWA junior heavyweight champion. But just the way like you kind of like move around the ring, and that guy doesn't get a lot of credit, but
Yeah.
he's
good.
definitely like an underrated.
Which
Yeah.
guy,
I
like,
totally take
especially-
that as a compliment. The part that's weird about that to me is being a near 300 pounder.
Yeah, well, look at his. He actually came back
Mm.
later on WCW Saturday Night, probably around 97, 98,
Mm.
and he was a lot bigger too.
Mm.
And so, but he was always a little bit thicker
Bigger,
for a
yeah.
junior
He
heavyweight.
almost looked like a
It
San
was like a-
Martino.
Yeah,
But I
just,
got you. But I know. I
but-
mean, I take that as a compliment. Certainly.
okay. Are you?
Yeah,
are you
Denny could go.
Yeah, and he was, he was obviously well thought of by those guys in Jim Crockett Promotions too, because he was always on the cards. He was always, like I said, longtime junior heavyweight champion.
Mm.
But anyway, I just want to throw that out there.
Now, from
Thank you.
Arn Anderson, what do you think from either your philosophy, your style, or your promos or whatever? What do you think you took from Arn? Not necessarily, I do this like him, but the overall.
From Arm, I want to say I took the almost like the don't rush kind of thing. Like take your time, execute things right,
Yeah.
and
Make
basically-
everything matter.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and put on a hold, like sit there, hold it, make it something, and look good doing it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
also his promo work, because I'm a big fan.
Oh, great.
I love all
promos.
all those guys' promos, and everyone talks about Flair, but Flair was very over the top. Arn could hit the same message with the
Yes.
same impact,
Yes,
but do it calmly.
right.
And I think on even our shows we've done here, I think you guys have kind of seen me do both. You've seen me yelling and
Mhm.
screaming. You've probably also seen me just kind of sit there with a mic and
Right.
talk very matter of factly.
Yeah.
And when I do that, that's definitely the Arn coming through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's what the last promo. What was the promo they showed with the? I think you guys were in. It was supposed to be like a junkyard,
Oh yeah.
and that reminded me, like when I saw it, because I never knew your Arn Anderson
Okay.
thing, and it reminded me of the old couple of the old Horseman ones with Arn and
Barry
Barry
Windham.
Windham,
Mm.
because
Yeah.
you and I did one
Yeah.
similar as the Mad Dogs, and
Right.
it reminded me of that a lot.
Well, I appreciate that.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Now, I thought that when we were watching it too. I never said that to you, but yeah, when that first popped up there, I thought exactly the same thing. Now, so you spent quite a bit of time as a tag team.
Mhm.
What do you prefer? I mean, do you prefer tag team or do you prefer singles if you have a preference at all?
I want to say I enjoy both equally. I know it almost sounds like a cop out answer, but like when I'm in the ring with like Fat Tony, one, it takes a little bit of load off. You can tag in and out,
yeah.
obviously, and
A little
it
load. He's a big guy, man.
but there's a dynamic there.
Yeah,
But at the
I
same
know what you
time,
mean.
singles.
I'm just messing
Oh, I
around.
got you. But in singles, there's you kind of showcase more for yourself,
Mhm.
and in a way, I don't want to say means more because that's not the right way to say it. Like tag means just as much. I love mini matches
It's a
with
different philosophy,
yeah, and I don't know. I guess they're just different. I enjoy both,
Yeah.
but I think I can plot a match a little bit differently and showcase more myself in a singles role.
Okay.
You know what? I mean, because I think I was the same way.
Mhm.
I really didn't have a preference between singles.
Yeah,
and tag,
Yeah.
there's
Yeah. Right. I mean, I didn't either, but I
Yeah.
just figured
there's
I'd ask because I
good.
know you spend a lot of time as a
Oh
tag
yeah,
team.
Yeah,
there,
most people do have a preference,
there's good
Yeah.
aspects to each.
Yeah.
Right.
So
Okay.
Huh.
Now, okay, so you had already started going out of state even
mm.
before the MWO. Now, how long was it after you were in the MWO that the IWE came along?
Oh, let's see, how long was that? Because came to MWO in my first year, 2012. I want to say IWE started in 2013. I want to say
Okay,
so maybe a year.
all right, so not
IWE
too
is
much
that
I
longer.
could be
that's
wrong.
the one in
I
Mount
could be
Pleasant?
wrong. It might have been 2014, but
Okay. Well, either way, it wasn't that long then.
mm,
Yeah, that's John Campbell and
Okay.
Mike Goodman's.
yeah, I consider both equally to be like my home promotion, no
Okay.
matter where else I go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, when you went to IWE, did you guys go there as a tag team
Yeah.
as well?
Same thing. It was the
You were still
Caurdiea
doing the
brothers,
same
the
thing?
Greasers,
Okay.
the whole deal.
Who
All right.
did you have any socias?
No.
Now, when did you kind of start to, back off from the greaser gimmick and start
um,
kind of changing the gimmick up a little bit?
I want to say, on Fat Tony's end, you notice I was pretty quickly. Like even the early days of doing the shows here at ONTV.
Hmm.
I think first you kind of notice him put color in his hair,
Right.
sands the jeans and stuff. Go to the singlet. I kept it
Right.
going for a little while.
Yeah.
That was the start, and I think within a year after that, first I got rid of the jeans and went to the singlet, and then it was kind of like, okay, I want to do me.
So is that what it was? You just wanted to do something
I just
a
wanted
little different,
I
or
just want to be me, like
okay,
because again, looking back at the guys I like your Tullies and your Arn stuff, like they were wrestlers. There wasn't an
Yeah.
outrageous gimmick. They
Right.
were professional wrestlers, and that was the gimmick.
okay,
And I felt I had become comfortable enough in the way I wrestled and the way I talked that I could do that and make that a gimmick in itself without needing
Mhm.
the extra glitz and glamour.
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
So is that when you adopted the old school moniker, or I don't remember? Were you already using that
No,
as
that
the
came when
tag
I made
team
the
as well?
change. There was a distinct angle in both companies that facilitated the change,
Okay.
and that's why I took the old school
Well, how did
moniker.
that go? You got a Cliff Notes version of that?
Let's see. In MWO, it's when Alex Crow, in his debut match with the company, beat me pretty soundly for the Great Lakes title.
Okay.
And me, or as my character, took it as I need to stop playing around the greasers, kind of a comedy act in a way.
Yeah.
Okay.
Time to get serious.
Oh,
Right.
okay.
And in IWE, it was kind of similar, but I had been on a like a winning streak there. I want to
Mhm.
say it was 14, 15, 16, somewhere around there, which doesn't sound like a lot in a whole, but when you figure, one show a month,
Yeah.
so like 14, 15 months unbeaten, and then Rex Havoc put me down. And it was kind of the same thing, like time to get serious and like recapture myself.
Mhm.
And that's how both, we did the change.
Hmm.
Okay.
How real do you consider yourself, like when you're in the ring? And let me like explain this, because even like we're more old school, kind of like you are. We're probably a little more old school than you are.
Hmm,
You know,
Okay.
I mean, just because of what we're our age, we're
Okay.
probably a few years difference.
I'm in
But
my 30s,
Quite-
by the way, so.
Yeah, so we're quite a few years.
So, like, where was I going? Oh, you'll see some people in the ring in it. WWF, WWE today. It
Mhm.
looks like they're playing a character.
Mhm.
It almost seems like if somebody came in the ring, just showed up and like slapped them, they wouldn't defend their turf. Like it's more of a show, a performance.
I got you.
And it seems to me, and I'm asking because it seems to me that there's you and there's some other guys that it's different. So like how when you get into the ring, are you yourself? Because I did it as a referee. It's almost hard to explain. Like you're a legit. You're a shoot.
But being in the ring, I understand. And I would say, and, we're going to break some names in kayfabe when I say it, but the line between Rick Allen and Ric Caurdiea is really non-existent.
Okay.
It's me.
Yeah.
And I take our sport, and I do say sport, pretty seriously.
That's where I'm
I
going.
I
yeah.
have fun.
I did a piss poor job of.
No. I have
putting that
fun with
question
what we do,
together.
but I do take it seriously.
Mhm.
And I want to put on a good performance, and if that means my hits are a little harder than you're used
Yeah.
to, so be it. If
Nice.
that means if someone were to jump in the ring, I knock them out, so be it. Not saying I necessarily can, depending on who it is,
Yeah.
but I certainly would try. And I'll leave it at that.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Now, I accidentally skipped over this in the beginning, but I wanted you to run down the list of championships that you've held. Are you a current champion right now?
Yes,
Anywhere?
I have 2 current titles. And they're both tagged with Fat Tony.
Should have brought him with you, man.
I didn't think about that.
You've been like Ultimo Dragon in here with all the gold.
I came from the shoot job, which yes, it's a shoot job. But me and Fat Tony currently have the IWE tag team titles,
Mhm.
and also the new era of wrestling tag titles, which is out of the Cleveland, Ohio area.
Okay.
And I just lost the Savage Anarchy Wrestling United States Heavyweight title, which is that's Marion, Ohio based.
How often you going down there?
It was supposed to be monthly, but there's some conflicting scheduling,
Yeah.
so I'll probably be there. Let's say about 6 times a year.
Oh, cool.
And it wasn't too long ago that you were the MWO champion too.
Yeah, that
Right.
just happened. Let's see, that would have been May. Yeah, early May.
Okay.
Sad to see it go, but
I'm sure they cheated to get it away
Oh.
from you too, didn't they?
no, JJ Hughes beat me pretty fair and square, but it was a fantastic match. It was actually a triple threat, also or 3-way dance elimination rules. Also had Alex Crow in there, but no, I was happy with the performance aspect.
Is that out on YouTube anywhere, that match?
Yeah,
Is it?
it is. I've seen.
Because
it.
we got a
seen it?
history.
Yeah.
We got a history with Hughes, so
Okay, because the official MWO copy is not out now. It is on my YouTube, like a handheld, like my girlfriend's copy.
I think that's the one that I have. JJ sent it to me personally.
Okay, because I said
So-
I have it like unlisted for now until the official comes out. But if he sent it, that explains the 62 views.
yeah, we used to wrestle with his uncle and everything.
Okay.
Yeah.
So knew his.
Yeah,
I
and
knew
we've known
parts of his family.
and we've
so-
known him for a
Yeah.
long time too.
So
Yeah.
win, lose or draw, I was actually really happy with how that match came off to everyone.
Yeah.
What are your
Yeah.
thoughts on JJ? Well, I got you.
Athletic as all hell, charismatic, an asshole. No, that's his character. No, he's a really great guy.
Oh, yeah, he
I
is.
love the kid, and I don't know if it was his first match ever, but I can know his first IWE match was with me because we
Oh,
were
okay.
we were the first match in IWE history.
Oh, really?
And it was bell rings. I kicked him in the gut, hit him with the caddy ride 1, 2, 3.
Oh, it's when he was doing jobs.
uh, just one thing about him. He takes some horrendous looking bumps.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Just like his
Yeah.
uncle.
It's like, yeah, exactly.
He does these high angle bumps that scare the hell out of me.
I know.
In
I
the
know, he
ring,
does.
like hitting him, me causing the bump. I'm looking, going, what the hell? Don't do
Right.
that. You know?
So how did House Fight come along?
Well, it started in Savage Anarchy Wrestling, I mentioned before, in Marion,
Mhm.
Ohio. They already had me and Fat Tony. And they still, even though we had been long gone from the gimmick, they still wanted to keep calling us, like, the Caurdiea brothers, the Greasers. That's how they knew us.
Mhm.
But we brought Adrian down.
Okay.
And he was going to start rolling with us at different shows and stuff.
Mhm.
So I was like, well, they're like, what do we want to do with them then? I'm like, well, put them with us. Like, make a group. And they're like, okay, we're going to do a group. And then we got there the day we're going to start, debut as a faction. Realized we had no name and sat in the promoter's office for a half hour trying to think of ideas.
Was the promoter in on it, or he just wanted you guys to?
No,
Okay.
he was in on it.
Okay.
And it was sitting there before it was Adrian himself who kind of looked around and goes, I mean, we're all hosses.
Mhm.
Let's start a hoss fight.
Okay.
And like, there's a name. Holy crap.
It's a good name.
Yeah. So, that's the brand we really want to build is, we're
Yeah.
Hoss Fight, and, depending on where you see us, there's 2, 3, or 4 of us. And
Yeah.
Right.
Do you guys like it in tag teams? Do you do the gimmick where it's like the Freebird rule?
We haven't done it like where we come out and you don't know which one they're going to wrestle yet, though that we might start doing that sometimes. But we have had deals where, like, say me and Tony were tag champions, and, like, I couldn't make it,
Yeah.
and Adrian filled in.
Oh, okay.
So we've done like that.
Huh.
Okay. Now you've also added at one point Bam Grizzly.
Yes, Bam is in the group, and he still is.
So,
I know
okay.
he's taking some time off right now, but
Okay.
we taking no titles away from Bam. He's a boss fight.
Are you gonna get as big as the NWO was at one point?
God, I hope not. No, because we've actually had a lot of guys in 3 states now want to join,
Really?
and we're like, yeah, no. I mean, I don't know if he was joking or not, but we even non-hosses, like we had Jacob Braun being like, I want to be in a hoss fight.
Well, okay. Well, let me ask you this: since there's 4 of you now, and you got the Hoss, which is almost like horse, are you guys possibly the new 4 horsemen?
Well, there may or may not be a upcoming T-shirt that says the 4 Hossmen and has the 4 horse logo.
Okay, so let's go with that a little bit then. Who would represent which horseman as far
Ooh.
as the Hoss fight
I
goes?
don't want to upset anyone, but I think everyone.
Well, I mean, come on. I mean, and you can pick any era. Just don't
Okay.
pick Paul Roman.
Because none of you look like.
I think
you're
that's
like
the only way that you're gonna piss anybody off.
I would say just by the promo ability and the fact that I'm usually the talker would put me at Flair.
And you spell your first name the same way too.
NRC. Let's see. I'm gonna put Adrian as Arn because he hits the spine buster.
hmm
Tim, Fat Tony. We're gonna put him as Ole because he, when you get him down and dirty, he is a bone breaker.
Nice.
All right,
So-
excellent.
And then I guess Bam, that's our Tully. He's the workhorse.
Sweet.
And surprisingly enough, he's a little fire plug and stuff like everyone always sees him, or you guys probably know him mostly as a face role. And he didn't really ever work heel until he started going with us out of state. His first show, heel, he may or may not have caused a riot.
I think I saw that. I think I saw that video as well.
Yeah,
That's pretty good if you can get a riot going nowadays.
Like, yeah.
the crowd broke into the locker room.
Wow.
And then when they got him out and security got him out, half of security turned and sided with the fans. And we were told to stay in the locker room.
That's
and
old
stay down.
school.
Well, they surrounded the building, and then another veteran wrestler down there, his name call him Raptor. He's a 30+ year guy in the Ohio area.
Mhm.
He was trying to defend us verbally, just guys, back off, whatever.
Yeah.
This didn't happen, or whatever's got you so upset. And the security guard who turned, sided with the fans, went to his car, grabbed a metal pipe, and legit cracked him in the skull.
Ooh. Jeez.
Yeah. So we caused a riot and assaults to happen in Ohio. And this was like east, like Ohio, like in the mountains. Like it was almost like the Virginias.
So did
Okay.
you guys get out of town as soon as you could?
Once the sheriff's department rolled out and got us out of there, yeah. And we thought we were in trouble because they're like, we need everyone back inside. We need to talk to the guys who were involved, and they huddled us together.
Yeah.
And they asked us questions. We're like, are we about to like go to jail for like doing our job?
Yeah.
And
You did your job well that night.
yeah, right. And they're like, well, okay, you know, basically they're like, well, what do you guys want to do? And we're like, well, what do you mean? Like, are we in trouble? They're like, no, man. You know, they're assaulting. We're taking them out of here. We want to get everyone out of the building. What are your guys' plans? We're like, get paid and go the hell home.
Yeah, right.
You know?
Hey, I got a question. You mentioned, you're sitting in the office with the promoter trying to come up with a name.
Mm.
How much with all the different promoters, like, how much do they give you for, your character or your match? I can understand where they say, okay, I kind of want this guy to go over tonight or whatever. How either intrusive or non-intrusive are they? Is it just depends?
It depends. I've been in places where it's kind of like, hey, you guys are working, you're up, go out there and give me, 10 minutes.
Yeah.
I've been in places where like, okay, you guys can do everything you want up to here, but here's how I want the finish. And then they lay out like an elaborate finish, and I need this to happen at this point, to go here with
Yeah.
storylines. I need all this, and like they have a script.
Okay.
Huh.
So I mean, I've seen it both ways.
Okay.
I just always find that fascinating how different people like how they run the shops,
The more scripted though they make it, the more I'm gonna forget the script.
Yeah. I couldn't do that. I could not do what
Oh, right,
what
exactly.
they do today. No way, no how.
Right.
And I'm very like these days I'm really like in tune. Like I call my matches generally, and surprisingly, even guys who've been in the business longer I work with, they usually let me.
Huh.
Okay.
So
That's respect there.
It is, and
Yeah.
it feels great. But when I do get a case where like, okay, well, here's the script. I need you to do all this. It's kind of like, well, I can't remember that because I'm used to just calling my crap and generally on the fly.
Yeah.
Right.
You
So
know,
you're a call it
Yeah.
in the ring guy.
for the most part, like I might, we might have a
Except for the
finish.
finish. I mean,
you know.
yeah.
Right.
But I mean, I'm totally comfortable if we forget everything we're out there. Or I'm confident in my abilities to like, call it and get us through it.
Do you ever have the matches where you just go in, you meet the guy in the ring, and you're just calling it all in the ring, except maybe a finish?
I've had a couple. I may not meet the guy in the ring, but like,
Yeah.
not backstage, but just we'll take care of it out there. I've had those.
Oh, cool.
Okay. I mean, you've won your fair share of championships so far. What would you say your short-term goals are in the future now?
Well, I want to wrestle in the European, like English market
Okay.
because,
That'd be cool.
well, I've been watching a lot of the UK promotions, and my style, I think, and my body type is very in over there. It's not, I just feel it would fit me better. But
Okay.
also Japan.
Okay.
I have this like lofty dream that will probably never happen where I want to go to Japan and be like the next Stan Hansen over there.
Hey, you never know.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Fat Tony could be your Bruiser Brody.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Actually, you do have a couple matches coming up in the MWO that I know about. You have a match. Which one is coming up first? You have a match coming up with Jason the Basher Klaus at. Oh, you have a match coming up. No, I'm sorry. Jason the Basher Klaus made the match for the what? I'm sorry. What's it
Well,
called?
we're going to be
gonna
having
a cage.
Steel Cage Warfare. That's going to be at the Soberfest event that we do with the UAW. That's July 21st in Flint at the Union City Ball Field. And just put it out there for everyone. When we say Steel Cage Warfare, it's a branding thing. We're talking war games, people.
Right.
And it's Hoss Fight and it's Scum of the Earth. We don't know who our fourth is going to be because we're a man down with Bam taking some time off. But we're going to find a fourth. And, I want to end it in a way that's fitting to old school.
So the war games is a cage around the ring. Do you have a cage on top too?
I mean, I don't think we're at the top because, when you're talking about indie promotion, it's kind of
Yeah.
what we have. And,
Yeah.
the MWO has an existing cage.
Oh,
Right.
okay.
We're going to be
good.
using that. So it's going to be one ring and
Yeah,
one
I like that
cage.
cage that they have.
Yeah, it's pretty
That
big.
seems really tall.
Well,
Yeah, I know.
but we are going to have, the two start in the 5-minute period and then the coin toss and the
Oh, okay.
alternating entrance and
Can it only end in a submission as well, or
submission
or-
and surrender.
Okay.
Yeah, only
Awesome.
once everyone's in there.
I got a question though.
Mm.
Like, how much of the business do you give away? I mean, there's the old term like kayfabe, you
Well,
know, like, cause I'll see like people when they're done with their match,
mm,
go out and mingle with the crowd, kind of like they're not hiding.
at all.
Yeah,
Um, Show days, I try pretty hard to keep it. Now, obviously, like a situation like what we're doing right now, I started off kind of walking the line, and I kind of gave it away now.
mm.
But
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 are
on
there
show
places you
days,
don't touch? Where you're like, I'm not giving,
oh
because
yeah,
that's how I am. I don't.
my thought
I still
is
feel weird like
my
giving.
thought is when we're at an event and people have either one taken their time out to come to the show, if it's like a preview, or especially if they've paid to be at a show, why am I gonna do something to take them out of the atmosphere and the element that they've paid to be in?
Yeah.
Exactly. I mean,
Yeah.
for how many years do you hear, "Oh, it's fake. Oh, it's fake. Oh, it's fake," whatever. But, people are going to wrestling shows to escape. Like
Mm,
the same thing like when they go to a movie or whatever, and I've seen that argument a lot too. It's like, well,
mhm.
you go to movies, you enjoy movies, it's kind of the same thing.
Yeah.
Sort of.
Differences in a movie, generally, not always, because some actors are really cool about things, but they kind of tag out and let stuntman
True.
take the hits.
Yeah.
Yes.
We don't have no stuntmans. If someone wants to punch me in the face in the ring, I might know it's coming, but I'm still getting punched in the face, and
Right.
it still hurts.
Right.
And the ring, we all know it's wood and metal, basically with a little bit of padding, but and there's gravity, and
Mhm.
we don't fake that.
Yeah.
It's
Everything hurts. It just matters to what extent.
yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Now, I mean, we touched on this a little bit. Do you still watch, like the big promotions regularly, or I mean, I know it's tough for me to. I don't think you watch it at all anymore. I mean, I still try to watch it, but
For the most part, I still watching the WWE product. I'm
mhm,
looking forward to AEW. I still follow like Ring of Honor, New Japan. I've kind of fallen out of Impact just because there's so much now.
mhm,
It's hard to spend that many hours a week when you have an actual life.
right.
Especially if someone has like a weekend wrestling show. Like, well, I'm probably doing my own wrestling thing.
Yeah.
So
Right.
at that point, you're not that important to me. But no, like I mean, I still watch as a fan. The quote unquote big leagues, and as much as I want to see AEW and all these other ones come up, right now as we speak, WWE is still the biggest league.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I still enjoy watching their product.
What are you gleaning from those when you're watching? Are you watching as like a fan, or are you watching as someone in the business? A little of both,
I do a
or
little of both. When I see something cool, like I mark out for it.
yeah.
Mhm.
I would say I tend to mark out more for cool characters or promos than the actual matches themselves.
Okay.
Um, but when I'm watching the matches, sometimes I'm enjoying them, but sometimes I do have a little bit like, ooh, that was rough, or that should have been done that way. And,
Yeah.
Mhm.
and I have no business telling those type of guys how things are done, but you pick up on things.
Yeah.
If there's a screw up, you
Right.
might catch it.
Well, yeah. Yeah. So, who are some of your favorite guys now? Some of the
Hmm.
current guys that are out there.
That's a tough one. Like I said, not necessarily in WWE, but I'm really big on Cody right now,
Okay.
and that's the whole package.
Mhm. Were you a fan of his already in his WWE era, or
I was.
okay?
And his brother, of course.
Man, that guy is amazing. I mean, if you think about it, he's been wrestling since what, 31 years now, and he
Probably.
is
Yeah,
Yeah.
still
I mean, he started with late
and
'80s.
he is
there,
still
so.
flying around. That match that he had with Cody, he was just coming off a double knee surgery.
That match.
You wouldn't even be able to tell.
That was the best match I think I've as a fan sat back and watched in years.
Really, I still haven't watched it yet. I
It
gotta
had,
watch
it had me hook, line, sinker.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people don't realize like what a big name that he was in WCW. Like his
Mhm.
first. Well, I mean, he kind of went back and forth, but
But like this
you
time
know,
was the natural.
he was involved. Yeah, I mean, he was involved in all those War Games matches back
Yeah.
then. Speaking of War Games, I mean, he was always like on in the top of the card.
Oh, absolutely.
Um,
And then
Um,
Goldust. he was over the
even
moon.
Goldust at first,
He was
yeah,
over the moon, man.
yeah.
I mean, how over he was.
Talk about maybe a couple others. And I'll say this one: man or woman, doesn't matter. I think one of the finest performers in the sport today is Charlotte Flair.
Hmm.
Period.
Yeah,
She's got it. I'm a Becky fan too.
See,
But
I don't get.
in
I don't
ring all
get
the
it.
way around, I'd have to give it to Charlotte.
You know what? I've seen a little stuff, and Charlotte Flair. I mean, she's second generation, right?
Mhm.
But to her, it seems like it's real.
It really is.
You know, kind of like going back to what we were talking
Well,
about earlier.
her and
It's
Ronda had a match, and like some people might look at it and go, "God, this is looking really sloppy. This
Mhm.
isn't,
yeah,
pro wrestling." I'm looking at it going, "This is a damn fight."
yeah.
you know?
You know, yeah. I mean,
And the women
I
have a tendency to do that just because of their style. They're a little slower.
Mm.
Remember, they used to beat the crap out of each other when they first started getting all that going.
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
They didn't know how to work as well, so they just beat the crap out of each
Mm.
other.
I mean, honestly, I don't. To steal a line from Jesse Ventura, I don't impress easily, and I thought that Ronda was gonna kind of bomb out or not be that good. I mean, from her first match, you would not have been able to tell that that was her. I mean, in my
Mm.
opinion, you wouldn't have been able to tell that that was her first match if you didn't know. I thought that she did a fantastic job coming in cold. I mean,
Mhm.
obviously they spent a lot of time with her, but still,
Yeah, matches
I
worked
thought
over
that
top to
she
bottom.
yeah, but still, even if you do nowadays, you could still see through that. I mean,
Yeah,
some of the other people that they have in there that have trained longer and been around longer, I don't think had as good a matches as her.
Yeah, I think I thought she was believable.
Yeah,
That was the thing.
that's
She was
like a
good. She
huge
was
thing.
believable, and even on like the talking side, because she got a lot of gripe on that side about
Well,
the
that
promos
could have
aren't
been
as
better, but
polished.
right.
But in a way, to me, that felt more real.
Hmm.
yeah.
This was a woman from another sport talking, and it wasn't what we're
Yeah,
used to.
yeah, I'll agree with that.
Was it great? No, but it gave you that different feel that she brought. Because I mean, her gimmick was it's Ronda Rousey, MMA fighter coming to pro wrestling.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Imperfect is perfect sometimes.
Mhm.
You
Right.
know?
Yeah.
Huh.
Now, I mean, you already mentioned AEW. I mean, we've seen a couple pay-per-views, but we haven't seen a actual show
Mhm.
from them yet. So, um, would you still put? I mean, you mentioned that WWE is still kind of the pinnacle. Is that your favorite promotion nowadays, or do you like some of the other ones?
Yeah, that's a tough one because I think I like everyone for different bits.
Okay.
WWE is that overall performance that I like to see.
Hmm.
But I like the hard hitting of like a New Japan.
Hmm.
Um, storytelling and like as far as like the classic build up of a match, and probably a lot of people won't have this opinion right now. But I think the best build up in like storytelling in the game right now is the revived NWA under Billy Corgan doing
Okay.
those webisodes.
All right.
You
Yeah.
haven't seen them?
Unfortunately, I have not been able to
Really?
see
They're
any
doing
of
them?
that.
I haven't even seen them
Yeah,
yet.
oh yeah. There's the 10 pounds of gold series on, and it's all on YouTube.
Huh.
And they build up matches as they need,
Hmm.
and it's damn good.
Really?
I mean, that was really the main event of what All In was this big thing. Everyone talks about the elite doing the show, and even though it wasn't on last, the main event of that show was Cody versus Nick Aldis for the NWA World Title, and that story was built up on the NWA webisodes,
Mhm.
Huh. Cool.
Oh, okay.
and it's just fantastic. So I'm really looking forward to what they might do. Do I expect them to jump up and be number 2? No,
Mhm.
but I want to see them like on that ROH level. And
Yeah.
I think Billy Corgan mentioned something about like regular TV might be coming this fall.
Yeah, I've seen
So
that also.
Hmm.
So, all right. Like, I mean, I already asked kind of about your short-term goals,
mm,
long-term goals. Would you ever be interested in maybe starting your own promotion or being a promoter?
I am straight up. I am really interested in that. But I don't want to be that guy who does it right off the get go or too soon.
Yeah.
And you're a really active competitor and trying to run a show.
Right.
It's going to be down the line when I'm wrapping things up.
Okay.
Nice.
Now I wouldn't mind maybe having a couple stints with the book somewhere, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I wouldn't want to invest into my own promotion until I could like 100% invest in that.
Yeah. That's
Okay.
hard to do. Some people can do it. Like Klaus does it. I think he does it
Campbell
well,
does
you know?
it,
Yeah.
those guys can do it.
Mhm.
I think I would need to step away
Okay.
Yeah.
personally.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
good that you think that, you know? I mean, you know
Yeah.
yourself
Exactly.
then.
All right. I mean, we touched on the MWO stuff coming up. You got any other shows coming up in any of the other promotions that you want
Well,
to talk about?
this coming Saturday, I'll be in Houghton Lake for IWE, Imperial Wrestling Entertainment, and this is going to be a tag team championship defense. It's a hoss fight, me and Fat Tony against the Dean Boys, Tyler and Tyson, and they were former champions. So,
all right,
obviously we have the power and the size advantage, but we'll see how that goes. They're crafty and they're quick.
Is the other Dean the same size as Tyler Dean?
Roughly,
yes.
Roughly. He might be a little bit taller.
Huh. You think so?
Tyson might be, but slightly.
Okay. Yeah. Not by much.
Huh.
But this will be the 4th time we've had a match against them, like kind of in a row there. With 5th in total. The last one was kind of a 4-way match. But other than that, it's been us and the Deans, and I've been really happy with what we've been putting out there.
Yeah.
I at one point, not the match where we won the titles, but the one previous, they got one up on us. But afterwards, I might have swung Tyler's head into the ring post at full speed, and Tony might have picked up and did the long dart on Tyson into a rolling bay door.
Excellent. Good job. Any other promotions?
Let's see. Well, I know in August I'll be returning to Savage Anarchy Wrestling down there in Ohio. Just lost that U.S. title to Scotty Freytown, but I'm looking to get that back. And also, me and Tony have a defense coming up for New Era of Wrestling tag titles, and I'm trying to remember the date on that one. I believe it's July 13th.
Okay.
So those are the upcoming.
If
things.
not, look it up on Pump Your website.
Oh yeah, no actual regular old school website on there, but Facebook. That's the way to go.
Yeah.
Look up old school Ric Caurdiea Pro Wrestler. Also Hoss Fight. Both pages have all the information out there. At Caurdiea, and it's spelled a little funky. It's CARDEEEHHH. That's on Twitter. I didn't think that one through when I did it for marketing. And Instagram Ric Caurdiea. You can look up all the flyers, all the information, and all those places, and find out those upcoming matches for me and Hoss Fight.
Nice.
All right. Now, since I have you here, I'm going to debut a new segment, a little game, if you don't mind playing it. And it is called the Who's More Old School game. And so I'm going to throw out 2 names of wrestlers.
Look, he's got a print off on it, a little chart and everything.
Just off the top of your head. Just when I first mentioned the name, who do you think epitomizes or personifies old school more than the other? And we're going to start off with one of your favorites, Ric Flair or Nick Bockwinkel.
I'm actually going to say Nick Bockwinkel on that.
Any particular reason why?
I think, they both have very similar characters, but I think Nick's a little less in the flash and a little bit more of that AWA style, which always was a slower, never really got out of the 60s style.
Oh, man, Nick
Which,
Bockwinkel.
don't get me wrong, that's not an insult.
Yeah.
I love Bockwinkel.
Oh, no,
yeah.
I will watch his matches always.
Right.
One of my all-time
Unfortunately,
favorites.
we've talked about this on the show before. Unfortunately, I did not appreciate him when he was currently wrestling when I was watching it. He just seemed, you had, you went from Rick Martel as the AWA champion to Hansen and then Bockwinkel. But, obviously you had Hogan and Flair. Bockwinkel already seemed so old.
Yeah.
So it wasn't until years later that I could go back and really appreciate, how great he really is.
He was 53 when he had those matches with Kurt Hennig.
Was he?
Yeah.
I was going to say Bockwinkel versus Henning. That's like, go watch a clinic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
His matches with Hogan, he was 43, 44, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he started in the 50s.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't know if you've ever seen
It's
it,
unreal.
but he even, had wrestling matches with Bruiser Brody.
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean, Brody respected him that much to
get down and
have
wrestle.
actually, yeah,
Huh.
exactly. All right, next one. Honky Tonk Man or Jerry the King Lawler? Who's more old school?
That's a good one.
Ooh. I guess I'm gonna say Jerry the King Lawler, and don't ask me for a specific reason. I'm kind of just going.
That's a hard one, man. I don't know if I can answer that one. Those are 2 of my favorites.
I think
Yeah.
I'm going with Lawler based on the the one strap singlet and the mismatched tights.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think I'd have to go pick Lawler on that one myself. But
Yeah, I probably would too.
I mean, just because when Honky Tonk Man came in, he was
But
a little bit more flashy. I mean, I don't know. It is
yeah, I
it
think
is
I would go with
it,
Honky.
it
They
is
both
kind of
have
tough. But
obviously
He was
gimmicks, but Lawler's more subdued with his King gimmick
yeah,
than Honky Tonk was with his like Elvis gimmick.
yeah,
I guess if that makes sense.
right.
Honky Tonk trained by Herb Welch or Jerry Lawler trained by like Tojo Yamamoto. You know.
Yeah, exactly.
Huh.
All right, next one. Hulk Hogan or superstar Billy Graham? Who is more old school?
Superstar Billy Graham.
You are correct.
And then again, we're talking very similar types. I see what you're doing here.
Yeah, really.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's no secret that Hogan, looked up to Graham. Well, I mean, he's the one that got him into it. So,
Yeah.
yeah, he definitely borrowed a lot from Graham. So, yeah, I'd definitely have to give that one to Graham.
And Lawler and Honky Tonk Man were cousins.
Yeah, they were.
Yeah, exactly. Brace, would you agree on the Graham?
Yes, I would.
All right.
But
Let's-
Hogan still moves the needle, especially when you listen to his interviews now. How he's like explains everything, you know.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
Hogan was another guy that I did not like at the time, but looking back now, I appreciate the hell out of him.
You
I mean, and
understand
we
why
wouldn't
he's
even
over,
be
but
exactly.
Like I was a Flair guy, but I still love Hulk Hogan. Like,
Yeah,
can't take away what that guy did for this business and
right.
how he got it.
yeah,
Yeah,
you're just watching
exactly,
Hogan next to
exactly.
like the Midnight Express or Rock and Roll Express or Flair,
Right,
Arn, and
and
then
I-
you're going
Yeah,
Hogan,
right, and
now
that's-
you watch him, you're just like, damn.
But being
yeah.
you
and
gotta
I-
respect the guy who cupped his hand to his ear and put
got that from
20,000
Austin
butts in
Idol.
a seat. Well,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. And I've said that before too. I'm like, back in the day, if you weren't Bobby Eaton, then there was the Bobby Eaton scale for me, and it was like,
Yeah.
okay, some of you guys get close, but so I can respect you, but now I can look back and see, well, Hogan didn't need to do all that stuff.
Yeah.
Hogan
Yeah.
had to do what he had to do, and so and so had to do what he had to do. So, all right, next one. Who is more old school, Andre the Giant or the Giant Baba?
Hmm. Ouch. I'm gonna go with Andre for the sole fact that I know more of his work. I'll put that out there.
Yeah.
And Baba,
Yeah.
like, obviously, I've seen Baba matches, and this is gonna sound like, I guess weird, but and I respect his work, but can anyone get over like the weird proportions of his body?
Yeah, that's what got him over, you know.
You know?
And those weak chops that he did to the, I mean, he'd do those like
Yeah.
weak chops to the head, but the crowd would go crazy for
Yeah.
Oh,
those.
they would.
Because he used to do them really well,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
like a long
Over as
time ago. I think I would go with Baba as being more old school.
Okay.
Just because, I mean, the whole history with Japan, and how he came in, how that whole Japanese promotion started,
Ricky Dozan.
Yeah,
to
sure.
Baba and Inoki.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't really have an opinion on that one myself.
And then he
Uh,
brought all the he brought the American, like the American style over to
yeah, because when they first
Japan.
started, like New Japan was martial arts basically,
Yeah, well, they
and
kind
Old
of
Japan was like bring over the
had
Americans.
two
to do
different
that
paths,
style.
yeah. yeah.
All right, I'm going to toss you a softball.
Okay.
Who's more old school, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson or Ole Anderson, formerly known as Rock Rogowski?
The Rock.
I'm gonna have to go with the one and only original Rock, Ole Anderson.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a safe one.
Because damn, he is good.
Well, let me ask you. You seem well studied for like the older school stuff. Is there anybody that you've become a fan of that you didn't see when you were a kid? Like the older style that you've gone back on YouTube or whatever platform you use and become a fan of?
Lou Thez,
Yeah.
probably the greatest world champion really of
Yeah,
all
nice.
time.
Actually, I do have that as one of my questions: Ricky Dozan or Lou Thez?
Oh, really?
I
I'm
do.
gonna go with Lou Thez. I'm a big fan.
I would go with Fez for more old school on that one too. The hooker.
Right.
I've been trying to find a copy of that book for years.
I've been trying to have fun. They're like 300, like $500 now to get a copy of that. I should have got one when they came out. I
Right.
knew it.
All right, just a couple more.
All right.
Stone Cold Steve Austin or Stan the Lariat Hansen?
I have to go with Stan Hansen, but Stone Cold fits that mold really well too.
Yeah.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah. So I'm going pretty much purely on just the eras they were actually in. Yeah.
Right. Brace?
I would say Stan Hansen for the
Yeah,
way
you
he
gotta go with-
conducted business too. You know.
Yeah, you gotta.
Let me
you gotta
drive
go
my truck
Stan
over
with
the
that one.
AWA belt and send it back to you.
Right.
Screw you, Vern.
Actually, that's my next one. Who's more old school, Vern Gagne or Gino Brito?
Vern
You might
Gagne.
not be
Vern
familiar with
Gagne.
Gino. That's a tough call. That's a tough call.
Yeah, because Brito had like the midgets because of his dad Jack Britton had all the midgets that used to travel around Little Beaver and all that. Gino Brito, old school,
Haiti kid.
Detroit.
Yeah.
There was a guy who died in the ring against or after he got out of the ring with Gino Brito in Garden City.
Really?
A long time ago. Yeah. I'm gonna have to
I don't know if
bring
I ever
that
knew that.
article. I did some gumshoe detective work on Gino Brito, and that little gem popped up. Just interesting. That's
Make
all.
that the next episode that that series on Vice.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, exactly. All right, just one more. Baron von Raschke or Fritz von Erich? Both used the claw hold.
They did, and they both had the.
And they
Those
both,
are good,
they both
man.
had the Nazi gimmick. Sorry.
I'm gonna go with Fritz for the mere fact of while still being like active, he was always heel. Like, he kind of babyface when he got older and was like retiring.
Yeah.
But Rashke would flip
Yeah,
depending
he
on where
flipped
he was.
a lot.
So as far as that dedication, I'm going with Fritz and making him more old school.
All right.
I
Race.
agree.
All right. Actually, that was not the last one because I just thought of another one. Who's more old school, the Rock and Roll Express or the Midnight Express?
Well, what are you on Fritz and Baron?
Yeah, I got to go with Fritz on that one.
Fritz von Erich.
Rock and Roll versus Midnights?
Yes.
Which Midnights?
Nice, nice.
I
like it.
I'm gonna go with the Lane and Eaton version.
Lane and Eaton. All right, but actually, either will work either way. For in-ring style, I would probably say Midnights for working more, I guess, well-rounded. Rock and Roll were high flyers of that era, so I'll go with the Midnights in that. However, I have to give out the shout out to the Rock and Roll Express because they like Hoss fight.
Nice.
I once, did a run-in and a save for Ricky Morton. He remembered it like 4 years later, so it's awesome.
Oh, really?
I saw him at a
really?
convention.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, that is awesome. Excellent.
I don't know. You go first. I'm still thinking.
On that one, man, I think I'm gonna have to go with Rock and Roll Express on that
I
one.
think I will too.
Okay.
I mean,
Yeah.
Midnight Express is my favorite of all time, but old school wise, I think I'd got to go with the Rock and Roll Express.
Okay.
If I had
just
been
the
the
way
other
that they
ones, I would have
wrestled
gone with the
and
Midnights.
everything. Yeah.
Had it been Condrey, I would have gone with the Midnights.
All right.
Yeah, Stan Lane did do like the weird half-ass martial arts stuff that didn't make
Yeah.
sense.
Condrey just brought heat, man.
Connor was fantastic.
He was awesome.
He was. He's another guy that I didn't appreciate till after. I didn't even like the Midnight Express until he was gone. And then when Lane came in, I was like, oh, okay, these guys are cool now. But then going back, I'm like, man, he was amazing.
Yeah.
But all right, I just thought of another one. Who is more old school, Iron Sheik and Nikolai Volkov, or Ivan and Nikita Koloff?
I'm going with the Koloffs because at least I can understand their damn promos. And they could actually, therefore promote and put butts in seats.
Good answer. Good answer.
I'd go with Sheik and Volkov.
Yeah.
Let's see. Yeah, you got to take Nikita out of the equation. He's just a weak link,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
Okay.
So I got to go with Nikolai.
Well, if you
and
put
then
Crusher
Sheik.
in there, that's that's closer,
Yeah, Crusher was on. Oh no, that's right. Yeah, you're right.
Khrushchev was in there, yeah, Barry Darso.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay,
He's closer, but I still take Sheik and Volkov.
Okay, speaking of him, let's go with one more: the Road Warriors or Demolition.
Ooh, because
That's a good one.
I'm a Road Warrior fan in this one. Like, that's my team. But again, it's kind of one of those, like, who worked more? and demolition worked like all the way around.
Yeah.
So old school was probably demolition, whereas Road Warriors just kind of came in like picked you up, put you down, 1, 2, 3, we're out of here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd agree with that.
True.
Demolition's more old school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. I would say so too because I mean those guys were around. Well, I mean Darcel was around the same time as the Road Warriors, but Axe was around
He came out
a
of the
little
same
bit
click
longer.
up there.
I did a
in
little bit of
Right.
a training
Minneapolis.
seminar with demolition too.
Oh, really?
It was
Okay.
Darso, not
Yeah.
Crush.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we're talking the Mass Superstar Demolition. The
the original
Bill Eadie.
Axe,
Yeah,
yeah.
Axe
Yeah.
and Smash.
I almost forget.
That's who you meant, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I almost forgot about that they did that change too.
Yeah.
Right.
Everyone talks about the later change, or the addition of Crush and all that.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Mass
yeah.
Superstar was awesome. Axe.
But either way,
Yeah,
that
yeah.
team just they worked. They were a more
Yeah.
rounded team.
Yeah. All right. One more, just because I want to throw this guy out here. Dusty Rhodes or Abdullah the Butcher?
Dusty.
I'd say Abby.
Really?
Yeah. Just because I don't know.
I have to imagine.
Because he's just stayed with his gimmick, his
I mean,
character.
that's true.
And character for so much,
That's
you
damn
know?
true. I had a hard time watching.
That's
Abby's
hard.
matches,
That's a good
though.
one.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
now that I think about that, that one is a tough call. I don't know.
It's like flip him, you know?
Right.
I mean, Dusty was also like totally that workhorse of that era.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. All right. Unless you guys want to throw one out there or throw a couple out there.
Man, those are good.
I'm
Do
pretty,
you have
them?
I'm
Really
pretty
good.
much tapped
Oh, okay.
out,
How about Ric Caurdiea or Jason the Bastard Klaus?
Get me fired. I mean, I am old school Ric Caurdiea.
Because you guys are like old school, you know.
Well,
You
he
can tell
might
it
he
in the
might take it
styles.
as a compliment if you pick yourself.
Yeah.
Then you're not throwing him under the old.
Yeah,
bus.
I'm gonna say myself because I'm old school.
But
Ric
it's not
Caurdiea.
even being old. It's just the style, like the
Oh,
mentality, you know.
Oh yeah.
No, I know.
We know what we're going at, but I'm gonna pick me just for because I am.
Good answer.
Or
Good answer.
except for when I'm doing suicide dives, then I'm not old school.
Hey, they still did them back then. Go watch some of that stuff in the 70s, man. Ricky Gibson. Those guys are all over the place.
Lou Thez did head scissor takedowns.
Yeah, exactly. And then some of the stuff, overseas, they were still doing like the same type of stuff.
Yeah.
So,
Huh.
all right, we are just about at the end here. Anything else that you want to plug real quick? I mean, I think we got most of it out
Yeah,
there.
man, I
but
talk about the upcoming matches and stuff. So I just want to say, for all you wrestling fans out there, again, follow Hoss Fight and Old School Ric Caurdiea. Look for upcoming matches, on all the social media platforms. At the same time, support your indie wrestling, especially here in Michigan, the Michigan Wrestling Organization and Imperial Wrestling Entertainment.
all right,
Excellent.
Brace Beemer.
Yeah,
anything?
do we have a date next time for the next MWO show here in Lake Orion?
Not that I know of.
Okay.
Yet, no.
All right. I don't really have anything. Just have a good night, everyone. Thanks for
All right.
thanks for
Yeah.
coming in. Great
Thanks for having me,
interview.
guys.
Yeah, thanks
was
so much for coming
pleasure.
out here. Yeah.
Grace, Mad Dog.
And all right, thank you. And everybody just keep checking the Butch Blood page for our next show. And thanks again, Old School Ric Caurdiea, for being on here. And we will see everyone next time.
Thanks for tuning in, everyone.
Thank you.